Hey guys, and welcome to today's session. It feels like it's been a while since we've run one of these sessions, even though it's only been a few days. But I've been away for a few days, so it feels good to be back at the setup and back in front of you guys. So, if you haven't been to one of these sessions before, this is basically just a brief oversight into who Darwinex is, who Darwinex Zero is, and what we offer to our traders. So, you might learn something even if you've been around here for a while. So, let's jump straight in. So my name's Kieran and I'm head of the UK growth and business development here for Darwinex and Darwinex Zero. So you might have seen me around in the Discord. I'm active on there pretty much every day and on all of the social media channels as well. Now, if you don't know about Darwinex, Darwinex is our sister company or parent company, as it were. And we are a regulated asset manager and broker. And we also have our hedge fund licensing as well. We're regulated in 3 separate jurisdictions. We're regulated by the FCA in the UK, by the CNMV in Spain, and also by the FSA in the Seychelles. We currently have over 100 million US dollars invested in the platform, and that's through third-party capital. So not through Darwinex itself, but through third-party investors, people who've come to our platform. And we currently have over 11,000 active trading accounts in both Darwinex and Darwinex Zero combined. Now, our job at Darwinex is to connect traders with investors. So we own our asset management licenses, as I mentioned, regulated by the 3 separate jurisdictions, and we benefit by bringing investors, traders together. That is our one and only job. So you might be wondering, what is Darwinex? Now, as I mentioned, a lot of you guys may have been here for a long time. You might already know who we are. You might have done your own research, but as kind of a brief overview, Darwinex is the only place online where you can become a professional asset manager and access third-party investor capital. We also help you develop as a trader and build your own fund. And you can access using a live account through Darwinex, through our broker, or virtual capital using Darwinex Zero. Now, I've just noticed a question in the Discord, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Now, of course, when we're talking about live capital, we have to put a risk disclaimer in there, which is CFDs are complex instruments and come with high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 65% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading CFDs with Darwinex, so you should consider whether you understand how CFDs work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. Virtual accounts are provided by Darwinex Zero and do not access your live funds or capital. But the important note here is that you have the choice. You have the choice to trade with your live capital, as in you fund a brokerage account and you trade that money, which a lot of traders prefer, or you can take the zero risk approach and you can trade via a subscription to Darwinex Zero, where you receive a virtual account and you trade that. Now, I can just see a question from Rob in the Discord. Rob said, heard the monthly payment is coming this week. Is that true? We haven't officially released anything, I don't think, in terms of correspondence to say that. I can't remember if I don't think I've been told an ETA. It's coming soon. I wouldn't say it's coming this week. Usually the releases are done, or at least I know about it on the week of, and I don't believe it's coming this week. I would say at some point within the next few weeks at least. But yeah, I don't believe it's this week. Now, as I mentioned, you have 2 ways to access the service at Darwinex. Okay, so you have Darwinex or Darwinex Zero. Your job is the same regardless of which path you choose. The goal is to scale and reach investor capital. That is literally the goal as a trader, right? Now, your track record is verified whether you trade with a live account or whether you trade with a virtual account, because our virtual accounts are all ran on live servers with kind of artificial conditions to make it live. So we induce the same slippage as you would get on a live account. We induce the same spread that you would get on the live account. Everything that you do on the virtual account is what you would experience on live. And because we're run on live servers, it makes no difference to your track record. You can also migrate your track record from Darwinex Zero to Darwinex at any time. So if you build up a track record that you're proud of and happy and you want to keep, well, you can then fund a personal account through Darwinex and you can migrate your track record over. So what we would do is we would take a snapshot of your track record using the virtual account, and we would basically move that to your live Darwinex account, and you can continue trading as normal. We would just have to obviously change the risk on the back end, so that if you funded your live account with $1,000, but you've been trading with $100,000 of virtual capital, obviously we would need to make that amendment, but your track record would see kind of nothing from the front end. Now, again, it doesn't matter which path you choose, you get access to all of the same things. The only thing that's different at this moment in time, which I feel is important to mention, is that permanent allocations are only available to DarwineX Zero clients at this moment in time. Whether they come to DarwineX in the future, I don't know, and I wouldn't like to say, but that is pretty much the only difference right now. If you're wondering what the difference is from a subscription perspective, so DarwineX Zero, you can start at 38 euros per month for access to the subscription, but DarwineX is free. So you don't have to pay a single penny, because trading through the brokerage, of course, any broker would earn money that way, so we don't charge a subscription. Now, your roadmap through DarwineX and what's it going to look like. So we start off in something called the calibration phase. Now, this is not akin to a prop firm challenge or a funding company challenge. We're not putting benchmarks in for you to hit to pass or fail. Okay, it's not a pass or fail assessment. It is just a phase of time where our risk engine watches how you trade and understands your behavior. I don't want to go too much into the risk engine that we have, because it is quite complex, and we go through that in more detail on Thursday's session, which is about understanding your Darwin. So I discussed that then in a little bit more detail. So if you want to attend that session, make sure you're around on Thursday, or you can watch one of the recordings on our X or YouTube accounts. But the calibration phase is roughly a 3-week period where our risk engine looks at your behavior, understands, and knows how to risk adjust your trading strategy. So your Darwin, which is your index of your trading strategy. Again, I'm trying to keep the jargon low today because I don't like getting too complex in these sessions. But your Darwin is a risk-adjusted model or risk-adjusted version of your trading strategy. That is all the calibration phases. Therefore, it's not to pass or fail. You haven't got to hit any milestones or targets to be promoted, if you will, out of the calibration phase. You've just got to trade through it. Now, once your Darwin goes live, which would happen on the following Monday after you've hit the calibration phase targets, which would be 15 trading days and 25 to 30 relevant trading decisions, you then get exposed to the DarwinIA program. Now, the DarwinIA program has 2 tiers, DarwinIA Silver and DarwinIA Gold. Silver, everybody is competing in DarwinIA Silver. Any trader who is out of the calibration phase and in DarwineX or DarwineX Zero, you automatically get enrolled into DarwinIA Silver, which is our monthly leaderboard or monthly competition that we run with all of our traders. Now, through the DarwinIA program, you get a rank and a score, and that basically enables you to earn allocations every single month. Now, the allocations work slightly different in DarwinIA Silver to DarwinIA Gold, because in DarwinIA Silver, they last for 3 months and they range from 30,000 euros to 365,000 euros. And in DarwinIA Gold, they range from 50,000 euros to 500,000 euros, and they actually last for 6 months. Now, they are cumulative, so you can earn an allocation every single month. And when one eventually drops off after 3 or 6 months, another one can be allocated on top of what you already have. So if you keep performing and performing and performing, you should never lose an allocation. However, if you have a bad month or a bad few months, then yes, you might lose allocation temporarily. That's the DarwinIA program. What runs alongside that is our permanent allocations, which is an add-on. And that's why I don't go over them first, because it is just an add-on. Now, it's something that a lot of our traders have opted to purchase and to activate on their account. But it is basically what it says on the tin. It's a 100,000 euro permanent allocation that stays on your account no matter what. So there's no drawdown limits, there's no time limits, there's nothing on there that says DarwinX will ever take this away from you. Once you've activated it, it will be there forever. Now, we have 5 different options. We have an instant option, and then we have 4 with growth targets. Now, the growth target basically means that if you activate that permanent allocation, you then have to return the amount that you've chosen when you purchased it before the 100K is active on your account. So we have a 5%, a 10%, a 15%, and a 20% growth target, which would effectively mean if you choose any of those options, you would have to make 5%, 10%, 15%, or 20% return on your Darwin before the 100K is allocated to your account. With the instant option, as soon as you click buy, it's therefore on your account, and your next trade would be earning performance fees. Now, it is run on a high watermark basis, so you do have to consistently be performing and making new highs on your Darwin to keep being eligible for performance fees. Same as with any professional fund management. If you're not making money, obviously you're not going to get paid, which is important to remember. Now, the next phase, which is kind of where you become a professional asset manager as opposed to somebody who's just striving to become a pro asset manager, is where you get exposed to investor capital. Now, through Darwinex, you actually get exposed to investor capital from day one. Your Darwin will be listed and it will be accessible to any investor. Now, for Darwinex Zero clients, you have to be in DarwinIA Gold. To get promoted to DarwinIA Gold, you have to have an 8-month-long track record, at least 20% return with a a minimum drawdown to return ratio of 2.5. Now, what that means is if you've made a 10% drawdown in the past 6 months, well, actually in total, if you had a 10% max drawdown, then you would need a 25% return, because the 25% return would be the same as 2.5x of your max drawdown or your return to risk ratio. Now, once you're in DarwinIA Gold, through Darwinex Zero, you then get exposed to the investors on Darwinex. Investors can and will allocate capital at their own discretion. There's no advertisement from Darwinex's end. We don't present investors with your Darwin. We will talk about and showcase Darwins that are performing well, but really your biggest advert is your performance. So when you're exposed to investors, your performance will speak volumes. Investors will look at it, they will look at your drawdown, your return, and your consistency, and then they will allocate capital based off of that. The next ladder is the index, or the INDX, as it's called, which is the Darwinex hedge fund. And it works very similar to investor capital. You will just see a new investor in your Darwin, and it will say Darwinex Labs, which is our hedge fund. Now, the index is, as I mentioned, our hedge fund, which we allocate our own capital and external capital to roughly 200 Darwins at time of recording this session. Now, the hedge fund is managed in-house. We have a whole team called Darwinex Labs who are managing that, and they will allocate and change the allocation, increase and decrease to certain Darwins based on performance and correlation. So it's basically, again, as it says on the tin, a managed fund, a hedge fund, where we take capital in from investors, and as opposed to investors having to go and choose where they're going to allocate their capital and take all that risk on from providing their own portfolio, etc., we do it all for them. You give us the capital, we manage it, and it gets invested into a diversified portfolio, which is the index, or the INDX. Now, before I move on, I should note that the index, although it is live now, it's going live to investors, I believe, within the next month. Okay, so we have currently private investors and Darwinex invested in the fund, but shortly, within the next few weeks, this will become open to retail and professional investors as well. There will be a minimum investment on this, I believe. So it won't be as easy as just opening a Darwinex investor account as it is now and investing into your own Darwins. There will be a minimum threshold. But again, it's like investing into, well, it is investing into a hedge fund. And usually there is a minimum of what you can invest. Now, just to make things a little bit more simple and an easy overview of how the whole system works, we put it into a little flowchart. So you have the trader at the very beginning of the flowchart. And that trader trades an account, which is either MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5, trading stocks, shares, ETFs, futures, Forex, commodities, crypto, whichever asset that you want. Those trades then go through the risk engine. The risk engine will risk adjust those positions based on your risk exposure as a trader, and that will be replicated to your Darwin. Now, your Darwin can then get bought by investors or have capital allocated to it via the index, the permanent allocation, or DarwinIA. And all the AUM is held at Darwin level, and that is where you will earn your performance fees. So all you have to do is focus on taking the best trades at MetaTrader, or what we call signal account level, and the risk engine will do the heavy lifting when it comes to risk adjustment and risk management. Although, whilst I'm saying that, of course, you should always practice prudent risk management. You should always manage your positions and know when to and when not to trade. Now, this is just a screenshot I took, I think it was the beginning of May, where I think we're about 10% up since here of compounded return. So roughly 214, 215%. But this is the latest screenshot I took of the index. just so that you can get a feel for the figures as of right now. So the track record has been running since 2020, so 5 years. Well, yeah, it'll be 5 years in July. It's, as I mentioned, it's open to investors soon, ideally within the next month. It's produced a 205.83% return since inception. So I'm not sure what that is on average year on year, but that is compounded return. So if you know, year on year return will be lower, compounded return, of course, will be higher. And at the moment, we've redacted the AUM just because it's not live to the public yet. But very soon I will update that with the figure. Now remember, we do have Darwinex capital in there and also external capital as well, but we are looking in the millions already. So the index is something that's really exciting. I'm hugely this is something that I'm really excited to see grow. From both a trader perspective and an investor perspective. I think it's a fantastic product for any investor, and I think for traders it just allows them another opportunity to scale through Darwinex, and you will officially be trading for a hedge fund if Darwinex Labs invests into your Darwin. Now, all I want to say before we finish up the session today is I would massively appreciate it if you could follow our social media channels. I would also recommend joining the Discord too, because we have a fantastic bunch of guys and girls in there. If you have any questions about our services or you need any help, generally they're the quickest way to get an answer is by coming in the Discord and just asking the community. They're super responsive and will help with anything that you have. And finally, I just want to say a massive thank you. I am going to have to shoot today because my daughter is at home and she's unwell. So I don't know if you've heard her babbling in the background. And it's time for her medicine in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So is there any questions before we finish the session? Because if so, please just drop them in the comments box and I'll give you guys a couple of minutes before we call it a day. See, Sanapianta is typing a message in the Discord. And guys, we've almost hit 10,000 members in the Discord. So if you're not in there, please join. I think we need like less than 100 members. I think we need 90, 80, somewhere between 80 and 90 members to join. And then we officially hit 10K. And when I first started with Darwinex, I think that was about 3,000. So hopefully we get to 10K soon. Okay, great question, Sanapianta. Why are they not live? Why are there not live sessions like this in Italian? I believe there are. Let me take a look at the events. We have Giorgio in running the Italian section. Now the French and Italian communities, they're stepping it up at the moment. So we've just recently added new social channels for the Italian and French communities. I believe there are live sessions that run in Italian, but if they're not, let me give them a message and I'll see what I can get scheduled for you guys. So we have one on the 22nd of May, which is in 2 days, which looks like it's a Q&A. I can't read Italian, so let me move this across so that you guys can see it. So these are all the live sessions that are held in Discord. Now I stream them, of course, to X, YouTube, Instagram, and Discord as well. So you can watch them on any channel which you prefer. My sessions are always recorded and uploaded to YouTube and X too. But this is a French session. We have another French session, another English session tomorrow, Spanish session, English session, English session. Here's an Italian session. I'm not sure what that translates to in Italian. Then we have another Spanish session, a Spanish session, Spanish session. So if the demand is there for the Italian sessions as well, please just drop me a message and I'll push the team. I'll see if we can get more sessions out there. I know that from a frequency perspective, the Spanish and myself, like the English side of things, are far more active than the others. I know Nicolas is doing a great job in the French channels of getting some content out there and doing more sessions, and he has Reek Trading come in week after week and do some fundamental analysis also. But if you guys want more sessions from those communities, I'm happy to push that as well. I'm happy to ask the team if they can do some more sessions. And so yeah, with that, guys, I'm gonna love and leave you there. So I hope I've answered some questions. Like I say, this session is just super chill. I go into more detail on kind of the more complex things on Thursday's session. So make sure you're here at 4 p.m. on Thursday UK time. And we're also back tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time for a strategy development session as well, which usually runs for an hour or just over an hour, where we go over kind of the metrics and statistics that we provide at Darwinex and Darwinex Zero to help you improve your trading strategy. So until then, guys, I hope you have a fantastic evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world. I always forget our customer base is completely global. So we have guys in Singapore, China, everywhere that you would think. So have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next session. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.